This is Richard Fowler. I'm John Kilpatrick with Okolona Aikido, Louisville, Kentucky, USA. And what we're looking at is these arm twist forms, and the first one is Ikkyo. And the idea here is to do the techniques by breaking structure. And usually, with most Aikido techniques, what people really work at is making them painful, so getting pain compliance. You can't really do that with Ikkyo anyway. And so Ikkyo means number one, and it's usually the first technique that's taught, also from what I have read. Although in the classes I was in, you just did whatever the class was doing when you started. So, you know, there wasn't any, they weren't that systematic about teaching you. So, with breaking structure, there are three things that happen. You have to extend the person, you have to rotate the person, and rotating can either be rotating their torso or rotating their arm. It's very hard to do any of the techniques without rotating the torso. Isolating them is really difficult, but rotating the arm for these arm twist things is very important. So you extend it, you rotate it, and then you drop it. And when you extend them, you're starting them moving. And if Richard and I are lined up on the same line here, and I try to extend him toward me or away from me, it's very difficult because that's where he's strong. So I have to really work hard to pull him along this line. And when you're actually doing techniques, this line is the line of attack. It's the line that he's moving on. When you do these exercises, you line your feet up on that line. And so that's one reason when you're doing these exercises for standing in a formal Aikido Hami, where your both feet are on the line of attack, a sword fighting Hami. Actually, when you're doing freestyle, your feet are going to be wherever they are, so all that's out. But when you do these exercises, it's important to do this so that you can study how these really work. Now, if you're doing Ikkyo, the formal way of grabbing it is to have your hand at his wrist here and your hand above his elbow. So now what you'll find out, you've got a whole bunch of these arm twist forms, and kind of the idea of all the different forms is that it doesn't matter how you grab the person. No matter what you do, if you twist, extend, and drop, they'll fall. And you do that, the more you're at right angles to the line of attack, then the better it works. So doing this exercise, the simplest way to get your grip for Ikkyo is for him to grab my wrist, and then I just reach over and grab him, and that gets this hand correctly. And for when I do this, and I'm not going to throw right now because we go off the mat, but when I do this, I like to line my body up with the direction I'm going. This is my strong line. So I'm going to shift from this line to this strong line. And because this arm is in front of me, it's much easier for me to just push this and roll it over with my forearm than it is for me to grab it. Now I know some people say, don't do this, he can stab you with his other hand or something. But all of this happens really fast, and it's turning him. I think that's not a valid concern. And also, now, you know, different people will disagree with me, and if you don't like what I'm doing, then modify it so you're not close. But this is the easy way to do this. And most people, I mean, Ikkyo is one of these techniques that takes forever to learn, And in a way, you never learn it. I mean, you work with black belts that are second, third, fourth, fifth degree black belts, and they struggle with this. But the way I'm going to show you makes it pretty easy. So, if we're going to do this, let's turn this way, Richard. Let's turn like this. So, and come back. Yeah, well, be at an angle. There we go. And back this way so that we have, oh, it'll put you out here anyway. So, then when I go to do this, I'm going to step here, extend, and push on this elbow. Now, one nice thing about structure breaking is that you have to go at his reflex speed to actually do it. But his reflex speed is about the same as yours. And you don't have to go faster than his reflex speed. So if I'm trying to hurt him or something, I have to go faster than his reflex speed. And he's going to fight it. When we do this, I don't want to do anything that his body doesn't mind. You know, I don't want his body to become concerned about this till it hits the floor. Because then he won't instinctively fight me. So when I do this then, I'm going to step forward and roll this over and drop it. So you can watch how this goes. It's just, so that's Ikkyo to the front. And so those are the crucial things. You go perpendicular to the line of attack, you extend it, you rotate it, and you drop it. And we can do Ikkyo to the front like that. And then we can also do it in the back direction. So if we're over, we can come over a little bit further, there we go. So if we're over in here, we'll do the same thing. He grabs my wrist, and now I'm going to step behind him and do the same thing. So when we did it before, I stepped out here, and this time I'm going to step back. So I just come here and throw it that way. And let's see, I ended up between y'all. Let's do it. Let's do it going the other way so that stand feet this way. More this way. Not too far, not too far. There we go. So if I'm going, this time it'll put him in a different position. So I'm coming here. And that's really all it is to it. And Ikkyo becomes a fairly simple technique if you learn how to break structure. And once you learn how to break structure, then all the arm twist techniques are essentially the same technique.